Yeah, I don't know if I'm looking at this right. It looks like I am. I'm looking at the bottom of these slides, and it looks like these are the last slides for the biomes that we're going to work for these slides for the biomes that we're going to work on, which is kind of wild. And we're going to end with man, do I dare say my favorite? Yeah, I think it might actually be the deciduous forest might be my favorite biome, and that's a huge statement. And honestly and truthfully, it's because of this time of year right here. There's nothing I enjoy more than heading up to the mountains in the fall with Miss Bullens and the rest of the fam and checking out the deciduous forest, because the deciduous forest is a forest where the leaves fall off annually. And they don't just wake up on October 1st and say, hey, let's all fall off today. They change color, and they are beautiful when they change color. And we could talk about the reason why they change color and things of that nature, and that's fine. So these are very different than those trees that we saw in the taiga, those conifers. Now, we have conifers here in North Carolina. Even though we're a deciduous forest, a majority of the trees in the forest is going to be these deciduous trees that lose their leaves each year, and they'll grow back in the spring and be beautiful and green in the summer, and then do it all again next year. And they're pretty amazing. And the deciduous forest has some great animals. It's beautiful. I love to hike in it. I love to camp in it. It's just my favorite place to be. Maybe it's because I call it home. So when drawing a picture of the seasons, what do you usually draw? Right? If I said, hey, and we even did this in class. Some of you were in here with this on Brush Ninja. It was the whole changing of the seasons, and we saw that those trees with beautiful, beautiful colored leaves. And that's what is in a deciduous forest, because deciduous trees, the leaves lose their green color. They change to red, orange, yellows, almost purplish looking colors. And before they end up falling off of the tree, which is pretty awesome. And I don't know where this road is, but I could hike down that all day long with Sherlock. The deciduous forest can be found in many parts of the world, but the thing that you need to understand is it's found in North Carolina, and that's a huge important fact, because when writing these tests, they love to put anything in there about North Carolina because that's where you live. So the test writers put things in there about that. So you can assume that you're going to see things about estuaries, because we have those in North Carolina. Oceans, there's one on the coast. Deciduous forest, we live in it. And those are the things that are the most important. So you're going to see that very often. You can find it all over the world, though. United States, you're going to find it in Europe, Japan, Russia, China. And so it's amazing to look at the deciduous forest. And again, as you can see here, you can already tell what I focus on. It's just what comes to my mind. Although I enjoy the deciduous forest in the spring and the summers as well. This biome has 4 changing seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall. So this is one of the first ones that we've talked about that has 4 very distinct things that go on in the climate, and you have a change as you move along. It is warm in the spring. It is hot during the summer. It is warm to cool in the fall, and it is cold in the winter. After the rainforests, temperate deciduous forests are the second rainiest biome. We get roughly 30 to 60 inches of rain. Sometimes more, sometimes less. If precipitation falls in the winter, it falls as snow. We've all seen that. It's been a while, but we've seen it. The average temperature, this is average, okay? If you go throughout the whole thing, because this is completely different. The average temperature is 50 degrees, and it says summers are mild. Now, that's not true for us, because our summers are ferocious. They're taking all of the data of all of the deciduous forest in at one time. And it can be well below freezing in the winter time. Now, again, a lot of this has to do with the tilt of the Earth's axis and the way that the Earth is tilted. And as we make our way around the sun throughout the year, we are tilted a little further away or a little closer to, and that's what gets our seasons for us. It's not that we get further away or closer to Earth-wise. It's the tilt of the Earth and our movement around the sun that causes that. It's pretty awesome. So when we're thinking about it, the sunlight, well, it varies. It's intense in the summer, and it's still there in the winter, but it's a little lighter in the winter because of that tilt of the earth. When we talk about the soil, I mean, look around. There's trees everywhere. It has to be fantastic soil. Some of us live on a farm, and you know that the soil is amazing, and it's great for growing all sorts of things. And so we really have the best of all of it here in the deciduous forest. When we're talking about water, we get plenty of it. Not too much like a rainforest. We get just enough water for everything to move along. So when we look at the sun, soil, the temperature, and the water, it just, to me, just seems like it's almost like we're Goldilocks walking into all these different biomes, and we get to the deciduous forest and we say, hey, for me at least, this one's just right. I know some people that are probably listening to this. I could live in a tropical environment, or I would never live in the Arctic. For me, this is just right. I get the best of all of the worlds. I can spend my winter in the Arctic because it's cold enough here to feel like that. I get to spend some very mild springtime weather, which might be more like something you might see in the savannas in the spring when it's not hot, not super cold. We get amazing summers, although sometimes it gets hot as a desert here. So it's just the best of all the worlds, in my opinion, in the deciduous forest. Whoa, what happened? There we go. Trees and plants in the deciduous forest have special adaptations to survive. They have leaves, okay, but not the pine needles, because those were pretty amazing with their adaptations. But as the seasons change, so do the leaves. They lose their leaves in the fall, and then they're gone in the winter, and they do that as the temperatures cool in the fall. The chlorophyll, the green stuff in the leaves, starts to break down, okay, and that's what helps also get the plant to do its photosynthesis. As that breaks down, you start to see the real color of the leaf when that chlorophyll, which is green, isn't in there, and you get those amazing reds, yellows, oranges, purples, and it's awesome to look at. And so what that is it's basically telling this tree, hey, it's time to hibernate. Winter's coming. You know, the sun's not as intense. It's super cold. We don't get as much rain in the winter. It's time for you to chill out and relax. And so the trees go through that dormant cycle, and then when it starts to get warm again in the spring, the tree springs back to life. So it's an amazing restart cycle that the deciduous trees have as they move through the different seasons. Animals of the deciduous forest. Well, I mean, they've got to be able to adapt to all 4 seasons. Okay, you can't be a polar bear and live here. It's too hot in the summer. All right, you can't be one of the animals from the tropical rainforest because it's too cold in the winter. Okay, some animals in this area do hibernate through the winter. Like, I'd just rather not deal with that. I'm gonna sleep through the winter, and that's fine. We all understand that. Animals live in trees. They have plenty of cover in the woods. It's not like the grasslands where there's not a lot of cover and they have to live underground. There's plenty of cover. Many of them live like up in trees, like a squirrel and birds. Some of them have nests on the ground. Some of them burrow. We have a little bit of everything. So it's amazing to think about all of the adaptations that we have. And we know all the animals. We see them all the time. Deer, fox, squirrels. We see birds like our state bird, the cardinal. There's snakes. We find frogs. There's mice. I mean, it's raccoons, which love my house and my trash can. We have black bears, which I actually may see here very soon as I head up to Beach Mountain, and hopefully see some color as we get up there. We'll see how that goes. Oh, nope, that's for you to do. That's not for me. All right. So we've gone through the deciduous forest, and we didn't take very long to do that as well. We got through that pretty quick. So we have our biotic factors, we have our abiotic factors, and it's pretty amazing. I think the biggest thing you need to focus on for your biotic factors are, the animals that live in North Carolina, but it really talks a lot about the deciduous trees and how they change color each fall. So moving forward, I think the next step that we're going to do is we're going to start comparing and contrasting some of these biomes, probably starting as soon as this lesson is over. We'll start working on our Google Docs and get that the app for the phones working as well. Get those uploaded, get the QR codes for you and your parents. And I hope that that's it. Anyway, I'm excited about this. Deciduous forest, my favorite of them all. And don't forget to crush that like button and subscribe.